Welcome back to the channel, guys. So today we are on this lovely Maserati Ghibli, so another Ghibli for the channel. We've already started working on this. It was pouring down this morning, so we have not videoed the full process, but I want to make you aware of the fault, and obviously the information for these isn't really out there. I have got zero wiring diagrams for these, no information at all. All I've got is just myself and a scan tool. There's nothing else I can use here for any help. So this will be a fun one. So I'm going to show you the fault code that we've got. One of the fault codes that's there is for the left sensor as well, but we've got that unplugged at the minute. So we'll just show you how we tested this and how we confirmed what the actual fault was. So you can see here, this is a car, V6, and the fault code that we're interested in, don't worry about that one, is a B009587, right frontal acceleration sensor, missing message. Now that is in the occupant restraint controller, so the SRS control unit. So what we ended up doing here is, due to the fact that we've got no information on where any of these bits are located, we have just directly went to the front bumper. We have pulled the arch liner out ever so slightly, and obviously you can see there isn't really much access in there, but down here, if you remove the expansion bottle, we have got your right front acceleration sensor, or your impact sensor, which more or less lives all the way down there. Now I can get into that because my hands are skinny, but if you've got a wee bit fatter hands, then the chances of getting in there are very slim. Now when I first came to this car, the fault was intermittent. The customer explained that when he turned the steering right hand lock, sometimes the fault would go away. Now I haven't managed to replicate that. What I have done is I've checked the wiring for any chaffing, because it's quite common on these Maseratis for wiring to be rubbing against the chassis or a metal frame. It's very common, in fact. So if you ever get a chance to look on one of these Maserati Ghiblis, or maybe there's the other ones as well that this happens to, but there's always wiring limbs sitting so close to a sharp edge it can just rub through the conduit or the protective sleeving, and it will cause you either a short to ground or eventually an open circuit fault. Now the way that we tested this was we ended up taking the left hand impact sensor out just to confirm that we're definitely on the right sensor, because sometimes there's a couple of different ones. So we've confirmed that we have targeted the correct sensor on the car. And what we've done is we've took the right hand sensor off because there's more access to get into the bolt. When I say more access, it's limited, but you can get into it with a little ratchet spanner and a little end on it, a wee Torx bit. So what we've done is we've put the right hand side onto the left hand side. Obviously we'll still have our right hand side open circuit fault or missing message, but our left hand side, that is what we're interested in. Is that going to come back clear, or is it going to come back with a missing message as well, now that we've plugged that sensor into there? So you might be able to see better here, but right there is where the left hand side sensor is. It's not sitting like that now, obviously it's loose, the plug's been disconnected, but you won't get access into that sensor without removing a hell of a load of plastics. So the right hand side is plugged in to the left hand side wiring harness at the minute. And if we turn the ignition on, so ignition on, it's a lovely car. So if we turn the ignition on, we'll go into read fault code, and you can see that we have still got a left frontal acceleration sensor missing message. That means that the right hand side sensor being plugged into that wiring harness has came back with a fault. Now we already knew that the left hand side wiring is fine, but that confirms that we have got a faulty sensor on the right hand side, and that is because we've plugged the right hand side into the left hand side. Now I hope this makes sense, but basically we've just swapped the sensors. The fault is moved to the left hand side, which is great. That confirms that we don't need to look for any more wiring issues. If we put that sensor back into the right hand side wiring harness, then we know that that fault will return back. Just to basically show you what it was in its original state. So we'll go back, we'll go to read fault code. So obviously we've plugged in the left sensor, so technically that should clear, I hope. Left frontal sensor missing message now. Well, that isn't good, because we've definitely got it plugged in, I think. So a left sensor, which you'll not be able to see because it's impossible, it lives underneath that bracket there. It is very difficult to access, but we're going to need to see why. Or maybe we'll just go back out it again and do a full system. In fact, we'll just go straight into occupant controller, go into read DTC. Yep, so both faults are still present at the minute. So what I'm going to do is just double check I've got that plugged in all the way, and then we'll come back to the machine. Nothing's ever simple, so it does look like I've not got the connector all the way in, which is a nightmare because getting access is a pain. Oh, this is a nightmare. What I'm going to do is do this off camera because I'm probably going to lose my patience. So it's now about 15-20 minutes. I'd probably say maybe closer to half an hour to get that sensor plugged in. If you've never worked on one of these, then you don't realise how difficult it is to actually gain access to that part. Nightmare. So I'm going to spin these around now that I know that it's plugged back in. And if you can see, we've still got the two fault codes present at the minute. I'm just trying to prevent any glare. So if we go back and go into read fault code, you can see that the left front sensor is changed to stored. So obviously we know by plugging the right sensor into the left side, that side came up with a fault. So we know that the fault is able to be switched to the other side. So we're going to need to get a crash sensor for the front of this car. So we know that this part is a Mercedes part, so what we're going to do is we're going to phone Maserati and get a price from them, and we'll phone Mercedes and see what the price difference is between the two. So we're going to phone Maserati right now.
If we don't have it in stock, I can't order it for you because we've stocked the Maserati and we're accounting shit with them now. So it's only the parts that we have in stock that we can sell.
Right, okay. I've got a number here. Could you at least give me a price?
The price here is £37 plus VAT.
That's actually not too bad, 37 plus VAT. So hopefully you could hear all of that. But as you can see, the actual part for this is only £34 plus the VAT, which I'm surprised. So let's phone Mercedes and see if they can run this part number through their system. Hi there, how you doing? I was just looking for a price for a part. I've actually got a number off it, if that's any help.
Okay,
It's Alpha 166 821 0151.
Okay, I'll see if that's a good number. Bear with me a sec.
We'll see if that's a good number.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hello, yes, a acceleration sensor, I've got that in stock. It's £54 plus VAT, which takes up to £64.80. Is that right?
So we've seen there that Mercedes was double the price, but they do have it in stock. Now Maserati do not have it in stock, and the only other branch that they can tell me to go to is Edinburgh. So by the time I go to the Edinburgh branch and try and get this ordered, it would be daft. There's plenty of Mercedes dealerships close by where we can get one of these, and it's in stock. So we might get this one finished today. If we don't, we'll still upload this video and you will see the finished sort of video after. So we're going to go and speak with the customer, let them know the price, and we'll take it from there. So it's later on in the day and we're back at that Maserati Ghibli for the front crash sensor now, or the front acceleration sensor, airbag, whatever you want to call it. This is a part number from Mercedes. So you can see right there, the part number is, in fact no, I'm showing you the wrong part number here. So the part number is Alpha 166-821-0151. So this is a crash sensor for a Mercedes, but it will also fit a Maserati Ghibli. So let's get it fitted and hopefully we don't get any more warning lights on the dash. So one thing that we're going to do first is we're going to get the sensor plugged in, the new one, and just make sure that the fault code reverts back to stored rather than active. So hopefully you can see with the glare, but you can see right frontal acceleration sensor missing message and it's currently active. So we have got the new sensor right here, and I'll just show you the number on it. So all we need to do is get it plugged in down there and seeing if it goes to stored. So that is very simple to plug it in because I've removed part of the actual harness itself. If you want to try and plug this in situ, then good luck. So you can see the sensor is plugged in, and we'll go back and we'll go into read fault code, and straight away you can see that the fault is now stored. So now we know that that will definitely cure a fault, even though we already kind of knew with the diagnosis of it, but you can never be too sure. So we are going to switch the ignition off, disconnect the sensor, get the sensor bolted in the way it's meant to be mounted, and we'll try and get the camera in to show you where this sensor sits. Like I said in the past clip there, if you've got big fat hands, you've no chance you're taking this bumper off, more than likely. I've just managed, and I mean I've got quite big hands but they're skinny, I've just managed to get my hand in there to undo the Allen bolt that holds it in. Now if you're wondering what tool you really need to actually get access, it's going to be something like this, which is a little ratchet sort of torque spanner. This one is made from Teng Tools, it's 1400B, but you'll have similar sort of setups as well. You can't get in there with a quarter ratchet, you need to have something skinny and something that's able to hold the torques without it dropping. So I'm unsure if you'll be able to see anything. Not entirely sure, even myself, if I can see it just by looking at the screen. Let's see, so if we zoom in, so yeah, there's a sensor right there. So you can just see the bolt that I was getting to. So it's not the best view, but that is the sensor that we've just fitted. So everything's all buttoned back up in the engine bay. What we're going to do is just switch the ignition on and confirm with the scan tool that we haven't got any further warning lights present. Now we already know that the faults went to stored, so what we're going to do is just do a full high-speed scan, as it looks like there's been a couple of CAN network faults due to the fact that that was reporting an SRS issue. So this annoying beeping noise, I was going to shut the door but it's too warm. So if I just spin yous around, you can see occupant restraint, that's stored. See, that's just a miscellaneous fault code. USB connection we're not interested in, and MSM, which is the memory seat. Learned calibration missing. So we're going to clear all these fault codes. So if we turn the car on, you can see the airbag light is no longer active. So we've had the car running for a little bit now, and as you can see we haven't got any airbag warning lights on, which is good. So as always, thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.